Hello and welcome to the Sales Acceleration University webinar, brought to you by InsideSales.com. Each week we're bringing you the insight to sell smarter, sell faster and to sell more. This week we will be looking at social selling. And to help us do that, we've got LinkedIn with us today. So really great to have them. So the title of today's webinar is Sell Smarter, Sell More. Zero in on the hottest leads using data, science and social selling. The webinar will last around 45 minutes, including Q&A. And we'd encourage everyone to join the conversation on Twitter using hashtag InsideSalesWebinar. And actually, you can ask questions throughout the webinar using the Q&A box in your console. Post them anytime, and we'll be running a Q&A session at the end of the webinar to address some of the questions. Obviously, we won't be able to get through them all, but we will do our best to get through as many as we can. The webinar will also be available on demand within 24 hours of the end of the webinar, so keep an eye out for that. I'm delighted to introduce Jennifer Graham, the Customer Success Leader at LinkedIn, and Scott Gardner, Sales Director EMEA at InsideSales.com. Both are on LinkedIn, as you would guess, and so they're happy for you guys to connect with them on there. So, without further ado, here's Scott.
All right, thank you very much, Alex. Like Alex said, my name is Scott Gardner. I'm very excited to be here with you all today. I've been with InsideSales.com for about 8 years now. I've been the head of CBU for EMEA for Inside Sales about the last year or year and a half, and yeah, I'm really excited to be able to share with you how to sell smarter and what we can be doing as sales leaders to make sure that our reps are prioritizing their time on the best leads. So let's go ahead and crack on. So we at InsideSales.com, we consider ourselves a research company. Whatever we do, we lead with research to make sure that we are addressing the challenges that we see in the market, and as well as what our customers see in the market and perceive in the market. We want to address those head on. So we've done a lot of research in addition to our partners, and this research, what it's really getting down to is answering the question of what challenges do we as management see in the market for not only our sales reps, but ourselves as sales managers, and what challenges are our reps seeing, what challenges are salespeople seeing. And so a few metrics that I wanted to share with you that hits this challenge question head on. There are some surprising results. One result is that we found that salespeople are only spending 33% of their time actively selling. Despite this huge investment in time with our sales reps and training and all the resources that we're pouring into them, they're only spending 1/3 of their time selling, we believe is because of the result of not being able to effectively prioritize their time on the right opportunities. We also find that as a result, only 20% of their deals close, and they're also spending 3.2 times more time on deals that do not close. Now, I'm going to have to give my reps credit because they do spend quite a bit of time on deals that don't close because we're trying to, really stress urgency. And if there's objections that come up, we want to be able to have our reps resolve those concerns and hopefully change their mind. But the fact of the matter is that our reps are spending an inordinate amount of time on deals that will not nor never close no matter what we do. And as a result, only 57% of salespeople even hit their quota. And so there's a lot of room for improvement. So what we also wanted to understand, we've gone through some of the management issues and some interesting numbers from the management coming from the top down, but the other side of the story that we really wanted to understand is what challenges are the reps experiencing according to them? And so we asked them. We surveyed over 2,000 reps, and as you can see, by far and beyond, the number one challenge that they perceive as the biggest barrier to them in hitting their number is lead quality and lead quantity. And in fact, if you take rank number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 and combine them, they still don't even add up to how many reps perceive that lead quality and quantity problem as their biggest challenge. And this lines up so well with what we saw from management, what their biggest challenges were, that their reps are only spending 33% of their time actively selling, that 3.2 times more time are being spent on deals that don't even close. And we believe that this lines up perfectly because we find that reps, they're not working on leads and prioritizing their time effectively on leads and opportunities that will close, and they don't have enough of them. So in addition to the lead quantity and quality problem, not getting enough, they're not getting good enough, in addition to that is the complexity of the buying process. And so when they eventually do get someone interested, someone chomping at the bit to buy from them, the complexity of the buying process makes it that much harder. So according to CEB, in the last 2 years, the number of decision makers in the B2B buying process has increased from 5.8 to 6.8. And so there's a couple of things that we wanted to address in this webinar here. Number one, how are we able to leverage data and science to help us prioritize on the right leads at the right time? And number two, how do we leverage social selling to zero in on the hottest leads? And the bottom line is to help us sell smarter and sell more. And so to kick off that conversation, focusing on the social side of things, I'm going to pass over to Jennifer Graham from LinkedIn right now.
Thanks very much, Scott. So my name is Jennifer Graham. I'm a Customer Success Manager here in our LinkedIn Dublin office. A bit of background on myself. So I've been at LinkedIn now for 3.5 years, and I spent the first 2.5 years of my time at LinkedIn in a sales role as an account manager. So all of the, I suppose, tactics and strategies that I'll be talking you guys through over the next 15 minutes or so are very much based on my own experience of managing and upselling my own book of business. My current role as Customer Success Manager is to partner with sales and business development leaders like yourselves on the call today to help them build social selling into their company's sales strategy. So what I'm going to talk you through over the next 15 minutes is really how sales is evolving and how we need to and how we can adapt to changes in terms of the buyer-seller relationship and how that's changing over time. So our mission at LinkedIn is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. I come from our newest business line, Sales Solutions, which is where we're really transforming the sales process from cold outreach to warm. We've always been very much focused on professionals, on knowledge workers, and on students worldwide, but that goes a lot further than just connecting people with job opportunities, but really making them successful at those jobs through insights that we provide. So at LinkedIn, we currently have 467 million members globally, and we're actually growing at 2 members per second. We've got 2 billion member updates per week, and how that benefits you as a salesperson is you know what your prospects are talking about, what's front of mind with them, and from there, of course, you're going to know how you can add value to them. We also have billions of relationships that enable us to reveal to you as a salesperson what connection paths that you can leverage for what we term at LinkedIn warm introductions. So where I'm from at LinkedIn in our sales solutions part of the business, the reason we created Sales Solutions was actually a reaction to how the buyer-seller relationship had changed. So what we found 4 years ago when we created Sales Solutions was that there was a huge percentage of salespeople on LinkedIn using LinkedIn to prospect. So I'll talk you through the product that we created for them to allow them to do that more efficiently. But the key message is that there were some key trends that had changed in terms of how the buyer-seller relationship had moved on, and I'd like to talk you through those now. So the first of the key trends that we've seen is that there's now on average 6.8 people involved in the average B2B buying decision. So where before there would have been one all-powerful decision maker involved in making a call as to whether to invest with you, there is now, as Scott referenced a couple of minutes ago, a lot more people involved in that buying committee and a lot more people who could potentially hold back your deal. And of course, there's going to be a lot of turnover, in leadership, staff every year, up to 15% actually. So it can be quite dangerous to cling on to just one relationship within your key accounts. You never know when your key decision maker might go dark on you, and you need to make sure that you've got other relationships within your target accounts, so you know what's front of mind to more than just your key decision maker and key budget holder, and that you're developing relationships with that entire buying committee. The second key trend that we're seeing is that now 75% of B2B buyers are now using social media to be more informed on their vendors. So it's no longer just enough to have your LinkedIn profile up to date. Even if you have a great LinkedIn profile, if you are not posting content, engaging with content that's being circulated online and on LinkedIn, you are missing out because your competitors are engaging with that content. So we don't necessarily mean you need to curate your own content, but really important for you to at least be sharing content that's been posted on your company page. And when you're sharing content, for you to be writing a little headline as to why you have taken the time to share that piece of content. And that's all with the end goal of positioning yourself as a thought leader within your industry and allowing your prospects and your customers to see that you're really an expert and somebody that they want to do business with. And the third key trend that we're seeing is that 90% of key decision makers are saying that they no longer respond to cold outreach. So if that's the case, and cold outreach is one of our main prospecting tools, we need to find another way to break down that wall to start conversations with our customers. And that leads me quite nicely into social selling and how social selling can help get you around those obstacles. So social selling has become a bit of a buzzword in the past few years. Social selling isn't something that LinkedIn created, nor is it something that salespeople decided, let's try something new. It's actually a reaction to what's happened in the marketplace in terms of how that buyer-seller relationship has changed. And really all social selling is a modern sales approach to leveraging your network to build relationships. Something that we've been doing as salespeople for a very long time. We're just doing it now in a much more scalable way online. At LinkedIn, we measure social selling across 4 key pillars or quadrants, if you will. And you can actually see what your social selling score is. It's called the social selling index score. So if you just Google the social selling index score, you'll actually be able to see what your score is out of 100. So it's a metric that LinkedIn has created to tell you how well you're socially selling. So the first pillar is creating your professional brand. And really what we mean by that is your profile. People often think that their profile is still their online CV or their online resume, but really if you're using it in the right way, you're using it as your online real estate, as your online brand. It really is, I suppose, the front page of your story. And you only have a few seconds to really make a good impression, just like with face-to-face. So if you can make a good impression on your profile in the first couple of seconds that someone is on it, it means that that prospect is going to spend more time on your profile, understanding what you can offer to them and why they should start a conversation with you. But only having your past experience on your profile isn't really going to cut it. You need to make sure that you, of course, have a professional photo, that you have things like a headline beside your title. So my headline, for example, is I'm Customer Success Manager at LinkedIn, helping teams to scale their business through social selling. So if you think about the keywords that you can have in a headline like that, you're going to be really searchable in terms of search engine optimization. And a list of results of, say, 20 profile surfaces when your prospect does a search, and they can see that you have a professional photo and a headline that explains a bit more about what you do, chances are they're probably going to click into your profile above your competitors. And the two other tips that I would recommend is that you have a summary on your profile. So as I mentioned, we don't want the first thing for your prospects to see is your past experience. We want them to see who you are, I suppose your elevator pitch, and a call to action. So what do you want that prospect to do with the information that you've provided on your profile? And the final tip is to add rich media. So any YouTube videos, slide shares, white papers, anything visual that you can have on your profile to help your prospects understand more of what you're about is going to be really key. And the other point about having an up-to-date profile is you're going to have traffic drawn to your profile. So instead of having to actively reach out for every single opportunity, for every inbound profile view that you have, you can treat that profile view as a lead. That's what everybody that sits within my team at LinkedIn and everybody within a sales position does internally here at LinkedIn. The second pillar is finding the right people. So we've talked about how important it is to map out every single member of your buying committee, understand who could potentially hold back your deal. And one of the most important pieces there is to make sure that, your contact doesn't go dark on you. And if they do, you have other people within that organization who you have a relationship with. And one of the main, I suppose, key reasons of having those 6.8 decision makers is, I suppose, people stopped taking as big risks in terms of their investments with the global economic recession. So, they're much more likely to be consulting with their colleagues when it comes to making big investments than they would have previously. The third piece is engaging with insights. So it doesn't necessarily, as I mentioned, require you to curate your own content, but as long as you're engaging with content on LinkedIn, whether that's what your prospect posts, you can like, you can comment, you can engage, you can share your own piece of content, or indeed you can create your own content. Again, we want to position you as somebody who is really an expert within their field. And if you're not engaging with insights on LinkedIn, you really are missing out. And the final piece is building strong relationships. So as we mentioned, we want to move away from cold calling, especially if it's working less and less, and move towards social selling. And the data that we provide to you on LinkedIn is not just your profile, but we're showing you how people are connecting with each other, not just your first degree, not just your second degree, but connections further on from there. So I suppose you could call it, you're building a social or an economic graph. And we can see economic data built out of that. So really, if you're using LinkedIn to sell, you've got a massive data center which is scalable, user-generated, and self-authored. So the social selling index and SSI score, sounds great, but what does it really mean to you as a sales professional or as a sales leader who has a lot of sales professionals under them? What we've seen is that sales professionals who are social selling are 51% more likely to hit quota. They're 3 times more likely to go to club, and they're getting promoted faster. So the average decrease in time getting promoted to VP level is 17 months. So that's what's in it for you and for your team to be augmenting your existing prospecting methods with social selling. So we've talked about, the concept of social selling, and everything that I've talked about already, you can actually do on LinkedIn.com. But I wanted to finish up by talking you briefly through Sales Navigator. So the reason that we created Sales Solutions 4 years ago was because we could see there were so many people on LinkedIn.com, salespeople looking to prospect and looking to start conversations with new decision makers. So we actually created a separate product. So it's a separate platform called Sales Navigator that sits on top of LinkedIn.com. And it's especially designed for sales and business development professionals to help them manage their book of business in a separate platform to all of the noise that they're being pushed on LinkedIn.com. So there's 3 pieces that feed into Sales Navigator. The first is just our data from the LinkedIn network itself. The second piece is data and information on the companies and the people within those companies that are important to you as an individual sales professional, as well as the preferences that you've told Sales Navigator you care about. So the industries, the regions, the seniority levels of the decision makers that you want to start conversations with. And the third piece that feeds into Sales Navigator is relevant news from around the globe. So a couple of years ago, we acquired Newsal, which is a news aggregator, and it allows us to feed into Sales Navigator content that's being posted outside of LinkedIn and make sure that you're aware of anything that's being posted in the wider public arena related to your accounts and related to your leads. So that's what Sales Navigator is really all about. And I suppose together, these inputs are put into our LinkedIn matching and insights engine. And your accounts, your leads, your preferences are used to filter down LinkedIn's network data and relevant news to what really matters to you as an individual salesperson. So the results of that are customized recommendations to help you to establish relationships and actionable insights that can help you grow relationships with your prospects and your customers. So what I'm going to do is hand back over to Scott now. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you guys the very best on your social selling journeys.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. I think Jennifer summed it up perfectly. By using LinkedIn and social selling, you will be able to better zero in and target your accounts. You're going to be able to better zero in and target in on the right contacts within those accounts. And what I want to talk about now is how do we leverage optimized strategy to zero in and engage those contacts and accounts in the right way. We feel that the right way to do that is through cadence. And what cadence is, it's a sequence of sales plays to optimize contact in qualification radios. Simply put, cadence is a very customized sales engagement strategy, a sequence of plays to help you sell more and build your pipeline. So what is cadence and what is optimized strategy and optimized cadence? We feel that there are 2 key recipes and benefits by implementing cadence into your sales process. Number 1 is it introduces persistence into your process. We find today that companies on average are only reaching out to their target contacts and accounts 1.2 times on average. What persistence in this cadence will introduce into your sales process is anywhere from 6 to 9 attempts in that play, in that cadence. And what that we have found results in is a 3x lift in your contact rate with these target contacts as well as accounts. It's literally the heavy lifting, it's the effort, it's the productivity. And when you have a system in place that automates that and makes it very easy to do, you have a very easy way to reach out to that low-hanging fruit and get that 3x lift in the contact rate with your target accounts and contacts. The second piece to achieving an optimized cadence is data science. And this is my favorite part. It's really how do you leverage the efficiency and tap into the effectiveness of your team to make sure that you're engaging your contacts in the right way as well as in the right time. Persistence, effort and productivity. Data science, right way, right time. And we find that by leveraging data science, you're going to get a 4.3x increase in contact rate, people picking up the phone when you call them, as well as a 26% lift in appointments because you're calling the right people who are more likely to engage with you, that have a higher propensity to engage with you in that decision-making process, in the sales process. So at InsideSales.com, we believe that science holds the key to unlocking human potential. We believe that data science and leveraging the effectiveness and efficiency gains that you get from leveraging data science will turn your reps into sales superheroes. So how do we do that? At Inside Sales, we have what's called Neurallytx. I think we made up a word with that. So with Neurallytx, we've profiled 25 million companies, 100 million contact profiles, and over the last 12 years have amassed a 110 billion sales interaction data set, crowdsourced data set, that enables our customers to ensure that they're calling the right person at the right time. It's leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning to use your own data as well as the crowdsourced data of others to make sure that we're solving those challenges that sales management as well as our sales reps are having, calling the right person, working the right leads that are more likely to close. So in fact, on average, your best leads will close at a rate 10 times the rate of your worst leads. So it kind of makes sense to make sure that your reps are calling and working on your best leads. And it's artificial intelligence, it's data science and machine learning that are going to help to optimize your effort and enable you to do that. So what I want my reps to avoid is cherry-picking the best leads and leaving it up to their gut instinct to make sure that they're working on the best leads. What I also want to avoid is to have my reps working on a leads in a round-robin, top-to-bottom fashion. And so if I can do, if I were to take an imaginary list of 100 leads and there are my best leads sprinkled in randomly to that, it could take me all day making sure that I'm working on my best leads. And so what artificial intelligence will do is it's going to align the effort with the quality of leads. It's going to prioritize to make sure that you're calling the best person at the best time, and so your time is not wasted on poor quality leads. So referring back to my earlier slide, there's three key things that we're wanting to happen here. Is we're wanting to target the right accounts. We're wanting to zero in on our best contacts, and we're wanting to do that in the right way with optimized strategy. So what's going to help us to do that? LinkedIn and social selling is certainly a huge part of that. We also feel that Neurallytx and data science is also a huge part of that. Artificial intelligence and machine learning absolutely will help to optimize your reps' effort and align that effort with the quality of leads and opportunities that your reps are working. So in summary, leveraging data science to help you zero in on the best leads, to help you sell smarter and sell more, we wanted to answer a few questions on the data science side. The questions we want data science to answer is knowing who to sell to, who to reach out to, as well as how to engage them, what to say to them, when to engage them. Artificial intelligence and data science unlocks these questions like we've never been able to before. Artificial intelligence, when combined with optimized strategy, is really the holy grail of sales. When you're able to combine those two, it's going to enable your reps to know who to reach out to call, just like I said. And we've developed a platform that works right within your sales workflow to do just that. And we call it Playbooks. So Playbooks is a tool that helps to remind reps to follow up on leads and opportunities and prioritize those leads and opportunities in such a way that they don't even know that they're using AI. Leads are recommended for them to follow up on, emailed, called, connecting with them on social platforms in a way that they're able to easily use artificial intelligence. They're able to very easily leverage optimized strategy very simply. The end result of all of this is simply selling more. We find that customers leveraging AI accelerate and increase their revenue by up to 30%. And that's what we do, is we're in this game to sell more. So in summary, sell smarter, sell more, zeroing in on the hottest leads using data science and social selling. We wanted to host this webinar to discuss the challenges that sales management is seeing today. We wanted to host this webinar to focus on what reps are seeing, the lead quantity and lead quality question. And we wanted to deliver some serious answers of how to do that. I think Jennifer did a great job delivering how to tackle the complexity problem head-on and targeting the right contacts and the right accounts. Hopefully you've been able to learn a little bit about how data science and artificial intelligence can ensure that your reps are prioritizing and focusing on the right leads and aligning their time spent selling on leads that are more likely to close. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to pass on back over to Alex to wrap us up.
Thank you very much, Scott and Jennifer. Really, really great insight there. So we have had some questions throughout the webinar, and so I'm going to take a selection of these. Any ones that we don't answer, I will ensure that the question is followed up post-webinar. So let's jump straight in. This is one for you, Jennifer. What are the benefits of free LinkedIn over Navigator?
Yeah, great question. So I suppose there's three key things that I would always talk about when I refer to the differences between LinkedIn.com and Sales Navigator. The first of those is that Sales Navigator is a completely separate platform to LinkedIn.com, which allows you to just manage your whole book of business in one place. So what that means is you're avoiding all of the noise from LinkedIn.com, and you're only getting updates and insights and information on the companies and the people within those companies that you've told Sales Navigator you're interested in seeing. So it's a massive time saver from that perspective. The second piece is Lead Builder, which is our targeted lead search capabilities within Sales Navigator. And you've got a huge amount of filters that can help you to narrow down the decision makers you want to talk to. And within that, you can actually save your searches to help you automate the lead generation process. So once you've created one search, you never have to perform that search again. You'll get leads pushed to you, whether you choose daily or weekly, based on that search that you've performed. So you don't have any of that kind of capability in terms of the extended features or the ability to save your search in LinkedIn.com. And the third piece is saving leads. So within Sales Navigator, by saving a lead, you're just following somebody. You're not connecting with them. They can't see that you've saved them as a lead. And it gives you the opportunity to sort of look at what's going on within your prospect's world, gather intelligence on what you think will be the most effective piece of content to leverage to start a conversation with them. So whether they're posting content themselves or something's been said about them, you're making sure that you're talking about them rather than talking about yourself through having saved them as leads. So I would say that they're the three key and most important differences between LinkedIn.com and Sales Navigator.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Excuse me. So, Scott, one question for you here. How are we able to offer reps prescriptive advice? How does that work?
No, that's a great question, and one that we get often. So, simply put, if you remember what I was talking about around data science and our Neurallytx platform, this is data that we've been capturing over 12 years. And so we feel like that artificial intelligence is really based on our ability to prescribe an action for the rep to follow up on. So, I mean, AI is really useless without the prescription we fill. And so what we do is, in that data set that we have, the 110 billion or so data points, the sales interactions that we've been able to capture, is we look into that data, that anonymized data, and we're able to see anomalies, we're able to see trends for different types of titles, different types of roles. So for example, if you take a VP of sales who's based in London, you can actually see, is that person going to be more likely to pick up the phone at 8:30 a.m. versus noon or 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. So that's the type of prescription to allow us to bring that forward for you to call that contact in your database at 8:30 versus noon, which is when it would be normally called if we didn't take action to prescribe that earlier. So hopefully that makes sense.
Great. So just one more question for you, Jennifer. So what signals would you look out for to initiate a contact with a prospect?
Sure. So there's several different, I suppose, triggers that I would be looking at within my homepage in Sales Navigator. So the first of those would be, has your prospect had a job change? Have they had a work anniversary? Have they been mentioned in the news? So anything related to, what's going on and what's being said about them. But actually, something that's even more effective is if your prospect has taken the time to post a piece of content themselves. So that's the one that I've probably had the most success with, because people like to be heard. And if you can reference the fact that they've posted a piece of content or curated a piece of content, chances are they're going to be impressed that you've been paying attention to that. But if in doubt, and if that, they're not posting too much content, it's still great to leverage, if someone's been mentioned in the news, because assuming that's good, people are going to have an ego about being mentioned in the news. So if you can reference that, you're more likely to resonate with them. And then if your prospect isn't posting too much content and nothing too much has been said about them in the news, you can still leverage content that's being posted about their company. So whether it's something that's been posted on the company page or something that's been mentioned in the wider public arena about their organization, you'll be pushed all of that into Sales Navigator, a little bit like Google Alerts. So if there isn't something they're posting themselves, you're not at a loss. One thing that I would say is make sure that you're paying attention to anybody in your network or anybody within your company who could potentially introduce you to your prospects. So that's the best way to start an initial conversation. And if you don't have someone who can provide you with an introduction, that's when you'll use an in-mail. But if you can even mention a common connection when you send that in-mail, your prospect is 46 times more likely to accept your in-mail if they're actually connected to somebody that you have in common. So, just kind of good to keep that in mind.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Really, really insightful. One final question for you, Scott. Someone has asked, do you have any sales cadence examples?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the answer is yes, we do. There's a couple of ways where we could get that to you. We've, tested, retested, and A, B, C, D, and E tested different cadences, and all of our customers who launch Playbooks will get a library of cadences that's pre-built into Playbooks that they can tweak and fine-tune to their liking. For those of you who are wanting to get a little bit of a sneak peek at what those cadences are and maybe start adopting those today, if you were to go onto our website, insidesales.com, I believe it's in the resources section, we have a white paper or PDF that you can download. It's called 7 Sales Cadence Templates to Double Your Contact Rates in 20 Days. So I'd recommend you check that out, and I guess I'd more recommend that you just become a customer of ours, but I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, great. So yeah, lastly, thank you very much for everyone that's attended and participated in today's webinar. We've had some great content, some great questions, so it's really, really good to see. The webinar will be available on demand within the next 24 hours. So check out InsideSales.com for that. And then thank you very much to Jennifer for taking part today. It was really great having you here.
Thanks very much, Alex, and thanks so much, Scott, as well, for having me join you today. And if anybody would like to find out more information on Sales Navigator, you can just go to sales.linkedin.com, and all of the information will be right there for you. Thanks so much, guys.
Great. Thank you very much, guys.